Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to our YouTube live stream where we will cover the latest immigration news as of January 2024, going into February 2024, and of course, answering the questions and comments of our live audience on our YouTube channel. Welcome, everyone. Let's get started. The latest Canadian immigration news, updates on policies, programs, and some gossip on potential future changes. We'll cover startup visa, international student programs, and all the new limitations and all that stuff in the news, PNP's temporary public policies, and the LMI temporary foreign worker programs, as well as some logical analysis of why some of the most important changes have been announced during the first few months of 2024. Expect nothing else other than the exposed truth, just like the rest of our YouTube videos. Quick introduction, if you don't know me yet, I'm Reza from Ingway, Canada, licensed immigration firm, and our office specializes in helping businesses, people, and families move across borders. Is this what I do for a living, nonstop, YouTubing? No, of course not. Not an actual full-time YouTuber, but I work hands-on with our licensed team here, working on actual applications and communicating with immigration departments and overseas embassies, representing our clients and the clients of our B2B partners on a daily basis. Why are we posting this video? These are made for the purpose of sharing our hands-on immigration knowledge with our worldwide audience, including but not exclusive to existing clients, potential new applicants, and immigration consultants and agencies, no matter where you are. If you're thinking about immigrating, we're here to help. Get a free email assessment with us by filling out the form down below for eligible applicants. And of course, if you're an active immigration practitioner, we can assist you with outsourcing your back office operations, including assessments, processing, pre and post landing support. We are a global solution provider, much more and many more options than just Canada. Let's get into it. And by the way, great news, folks. We will be in Vietnam, Hong Kong, China, Los Angeles, and San Francisco participating at key industry events from March 2024 to May 2024. So reach out to us if you're a B2B partner or potential applicant investor in any of these regions and want to get one-on-one FaceTime with us. Let's get started, folks. Of course, we've all heard about it. The Canadian government's announcement of the cap on the number of new international students allowed into the country for this year. The estimated target, as you know, is 360,000 for the year 2024 for new study permits, not new renewals. And folks, remember, there's over 700,000 international students already inside the country. Okay, lest we forget that. More questions and answers for this new policy announced by IRCC? Well, expect nothing else from the IRCC. They're experts at vagueness, no clarity, and making things up as they go along, right? Could you have expected these changes to come for international students? I think so. Read between the lines and look at the news from 2023, second half towards now. What's happened? Fraudulent network of overseas agents issuing fake letters of admissions and getting study permits and sending international students in Canada stuck in limbo. That was all over the news. Ugly. Population increase of 37 million to 40 million people between 2020 to 2024. Increase in that size population, close to 10% in that span of time, does put pressure on society and infrastructure. Massive volume of students in Canada reaching almost 1 million at any time, whether it's high school, language studies, post-secondary, elementary, summer camps, colleges, PhDs and masters, and everything in between. Problematic housing crisis all across Canada with not enough rooms and accommodation for these international students, and even high rents for Canadian permanent residents and citizens in all the metropolitan areas, Calgary, Toronto, Vancouver, to name a few. You know it's a bad signal when non-residents start competing with local Canadians for rental accommodations or asking landlords to accept their bids. That's bad news and a red flag. What does this all mean? It's simple. The general public opinion inside Canada is negative on higher costs of living, higher crime in major metropolitan regions, less housing, and more non-residents entering Canada. Therefore, the current Liberal government has started implementing populist policies to curtail these negative sentiments of its voters in anticipation of the future elections, which may be in 2025. In conclusion, the government is reactive, not proactive. And none of these changes will actually solve any of Canada's internal current challenges within the next couple of years. We know that, you know that. I don't know if they know that. With their new mandate, they've implemented these changes since the end of last year for international students, which should have been a foreshadowing of what to expect this year and the eventuality of the international student cap. Look at the timeline. December 2023, on the 22nd of December, just before Christmas, the IRCC launched a letter of acceptance validation tool for all the DLIs or post-secondary institutions and elementary, high school, or any designated learning institution to validate the letter of admission with IRCC's online portal before the student is allowed to apply for study permit. Updates to the minimum financial requirements for study permit applicants for both general stream and student direct stream, meaning more money needs to be shown for their living expenses, including the GICs for student direct stream. Well, that was 10 years overdue, right? Boing. This new cap will affect all new international students applying for a study permit for the first time, not renewals, except master's students, PhD, elementary and high school and secondary school students. The question remains, though, how this will affect dependent study permits, meaning if the parents or parent, spouse or partners are of a full-time student or working inside Canada, with their dependent, will their dependents' undergraduate study eligibility be affected by this new policy? The cap is in place for everyone, that's for sure, but there's no clarity from IRCC on the dependent study permits. By March this year, we expect IRCC to announce clarifications on this new policy. All we know is that open work permits will only be available to spouses of international students in master's and doctoral PhD programs. The spouses of international students in other levels of study, including undergraduate and college programs, will no longer be eligible going forward. All private college students who have spouses or partners need to think about switching programs or sending their spouses home as one breadwinner inside Canada. Studying and working at the same time won't cut it with all the financial pressures, or having the spouse or partner also study full-time. There you go. That could be another solution. PGWP eligibility, postgraduate work permit criteria, is changing as of this September 2024. Specific private colleges will not be eligible for PGWPs anymore beginning this September. Masters and PhD students will have a clear-cut 3-year postgraduate work permit after a successful graduation if they meet the eligibility criteria, no matter if it was a 1-year, 2-year, 8-month accelerated course or whatever. If it's an accredited master's or PhD program, they will get an automatic 3-year, meeting the eligibility criteria of being an international student pursuing their studies full-time in that program. There you go, folks. And of course, we've posted all these links on our website with this article, with this video after this live stream. And an interesting little gossip, IRCC has an international dashboard for study permit compliance. Here's an extract from an ATIP request, and I'm quoting from ATIP request, which fellow lawyers in Canada have extracted from internal memos of the IRCC. And the reason we're quoting this is because it falls in line with the cap and why all this happened. So, Senior Advisors, Operations, Planning, and Performance Study Permit Compliance Dashboard. This was a year and a half or a year ago. Please find below the dashboard that OPPS requested for the study permit compliance team within the IRM. The dashboard below highlights all active designated learning institutions and whether or not their international students are compliant or not. This exercise is done twice a year, once in the spring, March 1st to April 30th, and once during fall semester, November 1st to December 31st. Remember, folks, I'm quoting from an internal memo of the IRCC. And the study permits compliance dashboard, basically, this is outside of the memo, combined with mandatory reporting obligations for DLIs to report to CBSA and IRCC for non-attending students, because they're monitoring the performance of these DLI students when they arrive, when they fail to attend class, and when they graduate, and can form the basis for an annual quota of study permits for each DLI. And then they can gauge within a 3-year moving average of the performance of each DLI's study permit and the students, right? If a DLI performance declines, it may be possible to decrease the quota for study permits. Additional factors for considerations may include housing supply being offered by the DLI for their study permit holders. It may be possible to increase the quota of study permits for DLIs that increase their housing supply for foreign students. What is missing is a mandatory requirement for DLIs to report to CBSA for the performance of the DLI students when they arrive, fail to attend, and so forth, which would motivate DLIs to serve the foreign students and the public interest, to reduce the flow of foreign students to lesser performing DLIs and reward the schools that are better performing, right? So these systems, right, allow the government to keep monitoring which schools are actually keeping their students, they're attending, and they're not visa mills, right? And trying to balance and control the huge intake, which is putting pressure on infrastructure and public services. And of course, as we all know, Canadian infrastructure and services is about 40 years behind. Don't tell anyone I told you that. Startup visa. Yes, folks, the minister may be working on some SUV changes in 2024, and we expect updates by the second half of this year. We believe that right now the priority for the IRCC and the minister is to handle the international student intake issue, the management of current students in Canada, and so forth. And after this is all completed, well, and the programs are overhauled and implemented, they will definitely focus a little bit on SUV and whether it has a positive economic effect for Canada. There were comments from internal IRCC policymakers that on the appearance, SUV seems to just route wealthy overseas investors to sell in Canada with their families and retire and take advantage of Canadian services. Obviously, this was a very biased and prejudicial opinion, which was obtained by the network of immigration attorneys in Canada, but it does indicate a public opinion towards SUV from inside Canada. On the contrary, from outside of Canada, it is still one of the most popular programs out there. Expect changes by later this year, which could include caps on incubators to endorse startups, which we've mentioned before, higher financial eligibility and stricter financial eligibility of applicants for PR under the startup visa program, and of course, many other factors that are still big question marks, but I believe we will have clarity towards the end of this year. Well, of course, other changes in IRCC, temporary public policy for off-campus work for international students. As you know, January 23rd this year, they extended the off-campus work for certain eligible full-time international students, allowing them to work beyond 20 hours off-campus. The off-campus work hours temporary public policy was originally issued in October 2022, and then now it's in effect from November 2022 to April 30th, 2024. But now the new policy will take effect January 1st, 2024, and will be effective until April 30th, 2024. This new public policy will permit certain students to work off campus for more than 20 hours per week during a regular academic session of IRCC if they've received their study permit application between October 8th, 2022 and December 7th, 2023. Remember, folks, we're always posting about these key details of IRCC's new programs and other immigration programs and policies for investors, professionals, and entrepreneurs. And if that's what you're interested in, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more deep dive videos. OINP had a draw on January 19th for the foreign workers stream for general occupations. You do need to have more than 50 points in the pool to be invited. Out of status construction workers in the Greater Toronto Area, stream pathway to PR has been extended for another 6 months until mid of this year, July 2nd, 2024. The key to this program is the occupation has to be in the right NOC code, and you should have had valid status when you first entered Canada and started working in these occupations in the Greater Toronto Area. IRCC updated their demand threshold update, so the immigration policy is a cutoff that medical officers use to determine whether a cost of an applicant's health and social services would exceed 3 times the Canadian average for health and social services. As of January 1st this year, 26,220 is the new threshold. Average LMI processing times, folks, we are looking at global talent stream, which is about 2 weeks. Agricultural stream for farm workers, which is about 2.5, 3 weeks. Seasonal agricultural workers is about a little bit less than 2 weeks, but about 2 weeks. Permanent residence streams. So that LMIA stream is 78 business days, right? And that in reality is about, let's see, 11, 12 weeks at least. And what we've seen from our own experience is it can take 5 months for sure to get that. High wage streams is 51 business days and low wage streams 52 business days. But we have seen some anomalies in which we've seen several weeks for low wage streams. Very unusual, not the norm, but it does happen sometimes. The Ontario PNP International Student Stream is now allowing 1-year post-secondary programs eligible to apply through an employer sponsorship for their PR nomination. So on January 1st this year, the OMP started allowing applicants under the International Student Stream who have either a graduate degree or diploma from an eligible institution that took at least 1 year to complete, or an Ontario College graduate certificate from an eligible Ontario institution that takes at least 1 year to complete, or a university graduate certificate from an eligible Ontario institution that it takes at least 1 year to complete if they pursued full-time studies and were residing in Ontario, to be sponsored by their employer under the stream for a path to PR. Previously, this was not allowed. Now it is. So that's great news. Some fee increases with IRCC for rehabilitation of criminality, authorization to return, restoration, temporary resident permits. They've been adjusted as of December 2023. LMI program changes. For LMI applications submitted as of January this year, first, Canadian employers are now required to update the wages of the foreign workers they've hired and are working to reflect, and they need to have the prevailing median wage at the start and throughout the entire employment period. So if it's a 1 or 2 year or 3 year contract, let's say, under the LMI foreign worker stream, the employer needs to update the foreign worker's wage, no matter if the LMI was approved, let's say at $18, $20, $40, but the median wage, if it's increased, the employer is obliged to keep track of that and to update it, no matter if it's a month after the foreign worker arrives or 3 years later, but within that contractual work period. Okay, if the wage drops, which doesn't look like nothing's dropping these days, that doesn't matter. You're not going to change that. They're not looking for reduced wages. They're looking for higher wages. So if you hired a cook at $18 and the wage changes to $19, you're obliged as an employer to change the foreign worker's wage to that new wage, even after your LMI is approved and working here. If you like immigration hacks, creative immigration solutions, or key analysis and exposed truth about immigration policies and updates, you can click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And of course, folks, we're going to get quickly into our comments and questions. And if you're watching a recording of this later on, you're like, what is this dude saying? Well, YouTube channel, we've got a live stream. We've got folks asking questions, commenting. We're going to get into that. Quick conclusion. Of course, if you're thinking about immigrating permanently or temporarily, you're at the right place. We just don't offer immigration. We offer solutions. I'll guarantee you one point. You'll know what to expect when working with us. The entire process clearly laid out for you and all the risks identified and costs. Our legal agreements are based on payment milestones, which are linked directly to application progression. We don't take 100% advance payment for business immigration clients. You're in full control of which program you choose for immigration. We give you all the options you're eligible for. Then you decide. Does your local immigration agency offer this? We have a $1 million liability insurance which protects you and us from fraudulent mistakes, as well as a dedicated client trust account with our Canadian banks. Our team speaks over 9 languages, and we've helped applicants from over 50 different countries during their immigration process. And I'm not kidding. Click the link below this video for a free email assessment for eligible applicants. And if you're ready to apply and want to get a one-on-one session with me or one of my licensed immigration team members, You can also book a session directly using the consultation link in the description of this video, which will also be posted later on our YouTube channel and on our website with this article. And of course, if you want to take our immigration knowledge for test drive before you book a one-on-one consultation with me or my team members, you can also tune into our YouTube live every week for a regular live stream where we answer all of your immigration questions for free on the spot. And folks, we are going to make it random. It's not going to be every Thursday. We may have 1 or 2 Thursdays, but we will have different days of the week where we will go live. So if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will be notified when we are live. And if you're available, you can tune in, watch, comment, ask questions, or just send cool emojis over on the chat channel. Okay, let's jump in, folks. Salman Rafiq Bey Patel, hello. Apostolic Digest TV, hello back. Zubair Shafi, hello Zubair, nice to see you. Rosita, hello Reza June, good luck, thank you Rosita. Sahel Malik says our 3 members got their permanent file number in October. Rest waiting. Can you tell me the PR timeline if they received their permanent file number from IRCC under the SAR visa as of October 2023? It can take anywhere from 6 to 8 months, Sahil, but all members should get their permanent residency numbers, not permanent file numbers, before the group can get a PR, right? So you're maybe sometime mid to second half of this year. Angel, hi Reza, good to see you. Thank you, Angel. Nice to see you. It's been a while. Yes, definitely so. Shahzad Gul Mohammed, are there any universities which offer undergrad programs with Canadian fees structure, rather international, to dependents of persons who recently got work permits after getting a letter of support under SUV? If yes, how to explore? Shahzad, of course. University of Toronto, University of British Columbia, University of York, University of Metropolitan Toronto, whatever they changed the name to. George Brown, which is a college, Seneca, whole bunch of them, but a whole bunch don't participate in that program. Okay, so I just named you the biggest ones, the most important ones. There are some other ones. I think Windsor, maybe University of Windsor, but don't quote me on that. It's been a while, but I know the big boys definitely participate. AP Kamish, hey Raza, a long time I couldn't join because of lots of assignments. Anyway, Happy New Year. AP Kamish, I'm glad you completed your assignments. We were a little bit traveling, so less lives, but we're full track this year, folks. 2024, we're going to have lives every week. And if it's not every week, at least 45 weeks of the year. Okay. It may not be on Thursdays, folks. We may switch it around, maybe a Tuesday, maybe a Friday, right? So subscribe to our YouTube channel so you will be notified when we are live. Because we've had comments and questions and be like, hey, folks, I can't come in on Thursdays. Why is it every Thursday? Well, we're going to switch it up. Okay. AP Kamish, good to see you as well. Zubair, I'm looking forward to a proactive 2024 from all of our audience and subscribers. Zubair Shafiar, Reza, a long time. Great to have you back. Likewise, Zubair, good to see you. Angel, can valid medicals done for ongoing PR application be used for STS study permit applications? Yes, potentially yes, because it's a valid medical. So technically, it should be possible to include that in your study permit or work permit application. Yes, because it doesn't make sense to do 2 medicals if they're valid. If they're not valid, that's a different story. Ravneet, hi Reza, how are you? I got my RFW. Congrats, Ravneet. Good. I know you were worried. I know the communication from IRCC is lacking, but finally you were able to sort it out, and I'm glad. And it just requires some patience, a little bit frustration, a little bit patience, dealing with IRCC. But that's great. Great news. This is good news. This is good start to 2024. AP Kamash, and what do you think pushed them to take these decisions, Reza? Well, it was all the bad news, publicity. The key is, and I've always said this to everyone who's met me, is that IRCC takes on way too much. The Canadian government takes on way too much in terms of immigration streams, programs, and applicants than the capacity and the resources they have. And we predicted that this minister was a realist, so more grounded, so they can come back to reality in terms of what can Canadian immigration process in time, what can they handle, and that's what they should focus on, not promise the world to everyone and disappoint the majority of people with their processing times, their mistakes. The last few years have been a mess. Ravneet, do you have any Indian clients for SUV program? Ravneet, we've represented Indian clients for SUV PR. They've been successful. In terms of now, there are clients that are interested, but right now we don't have an existing group, let's say, that we're representing right now that are Indian, let's say. Because the latest one they received theirs in, I think, last year, end of last year, they got their PR. But yeah, let us know. Has any of your Indian SUV clients gotten their work permits approved recently? If yes, how many months did it take? No, we don't have any recent ones right now from India. Zubair Shafi, congrats, Ravneet. Yeah, congrats are in order. AP Kamish, and apparently all master students can get 3-year PGWs. How real is that? Yeah, I mean, as long as you pursued your program and you were full-time, there was no gaps, yes, that's what they're going to implement. And I think it makes sense too. I think that was a logical and good decision. SG, will the new study permit policy impact all areas of Canada or some specific areas? So folks, all areas. So this is how it's going to be. It's going to be like Quebec. I don't know if you know how the Quebec study permit thing. They get a CSQ, certificate something of Quebec, Selection Quebec. And now they're putting that across Canada, that every province has to issue this certificate before you can apply for a study permit if you were accepted at a designated learning institution in that province. So if you know how Quebec works, they're pretty much trying to implement the whole thing across Canada that reflects the same process as Quebec. So every time you need to renew in Quebec, you actually need to get a new CSQ. I don't know if that's what they're planning across Canada, but if new study permits are being applied for anywhere across Canada now, even outside Quebec, they need the province to issue a special certificate, and the province will have a cap, and they will manage that cap, and it will be allocated from the federal government. Okay, so if you're familiar with Quebec, that is what to expect going forward. But now there's a federal cap. There wasn't before. Okay. Ravneet says there's been 3.5 months, still no up-down work permit. It used to get approved within 1.5, 2 months. Usually we're seeing 4 months now, Ravneet, in the regions, 4.5. Like it could be 3, but 4.5 is a safe number. It's not great, to be honest with you. They've slowed down SUV, more refusals. You reapply, you get approved. It's a wild, wild west. Sanya Kayode. I'm awaiting response from IRCC for my visitor visa since November. Can I apply for a spousal open work permit with my wife who just had an LMI job offer? It is possible. You have to look at the eligibility of your wife's LMI stream, high wage or low wage, and the NOC code and tier level. Refer to one of our videos we posted in the last month about that to see if you're eligible for an open work permit based on your wife's job offer. SG, how much time is required to get a study permit, and is there any impact on time periods required to get study permit after the new changes? So, very good question. I love it, and we're gonna dive deep into that. SG, okay? So, what's the impact of this new study permit policy, which you won't see now because I think we'll see it towards the second half of this year, is that embassies will have more capacity to process, which means we'll get closer to realistic processing times that they've always promised us but never delivered. And the second thing is you'll get longer processing times to apply for a study permit. Why? Because you need that certificate from the province now. And that takes time. So you get a DLI to issue a letter of admission. That takes time. Colleges are quick. Elementary high schools are quick. But then universities are a bit slower. Then you need to get that certificate from the province, which takes time. Then you do the embassies. So the embassies will shorten their processing time. They'll actually get back to the original planned processing times. And then, but to get to that stage, obviously, it will take a few more steps. So that's how it's going to be. You don't expect anything until the second half of 2024 in terms of actual tangible results or changes in the system, because the system is pretty backlogged as we speak. Zubair, sorry question, how long will it ask in 2 parts? Okay. Zubair, SUV PR application was filed in August 2022. Received our e-application number in August 2023, the permanent number. Received the acknowledgement from IRCC to submit the police clearance certificate, IMM forms, business timesheet, and travel history. Okay, that makes sense. Submitted all of it. How much more time do you think we have to wait to get the decision from our side? Do you think we have to furnish other details? It depends. Sometimes the officers will come 4 rounds with you, back and forth, like a tennis match. And sometimes 2 rounds, they're happy, and they won't tell you you're approved. You'll receive a pre-arrival letter, perhaps. Pre-arrival newcomer services letter, which means that the officer's happy, you're going for the final PR processing. Usually, I don't tell clients to expect anything under 4 months. If the IRCC officer comes back more and more, it will be stretched out. If they don't, then of course you're going towards PR processing. Sometimes there are gaps between the officer's questions. So sometimes like 3-4 months, nothing happens, and then they're back. It's all over the place. And I know I've said this a million times, folks, but I've seen all sorts of SUV type processing types of officers. So some groups that have 1 round, they've requested information, and then their PRs were processed very quickly, and especially the ones that were inside Canada. And some that the officer came back 4 rounds, right, of questions. So be ready, and it could be either scenario. Angel, is getting a pre-arrival service letter a good news? Is there any possibility of PR rejection after getting pre-arrival? Well, pre-arrival services means the IRCC officer will not ask more questions about the start of visa, like eligibility and genuine intention. So they're happy. The back end of the PR processing with an IRCC will continue. But whether, things can happen. Group member withdraws. Maybe something happens. Maybe the passport request, they don't send the passport request, some co-founder. So 99% Angel, it's done. It's just that 1%, getting all that final details done before it goes further. That's what we've seen with the pre-arrival and after the pre-arrival. But 100% of our clients have been processed for PR successfully after the pre-arrival services, and only exceptional circumstances where the co-founders maybe there's issues and one of them is not coming, or who knows, they're not following the rest of those steps and procedures. Ravneet, when I submitted my business progress, or I get an invitation to pre-arrival, so exactly after 30 days. Ravneet, that's good, but you know why? Because they thought you were inside Canada. And you were, I think, at that point. And they process inside Canada much faster than outside Canada. AP Kamish. And we had a group, and I think they got their pre-arrival, and they were outside, but one person was inside. But the whole group within less than 30 days got their actual PR processing letters, and within a month, let's say. So it was interesting. And I believe because of the target of 17,000 federal self-employed startup visa over the next 3 years, they will process these faster as we go along. AP Commerce, why switch up the Thursday schedule, Reza? It's just we want to switch it up, AP Commerce. Thursdays are nice. We love Thursdays, but we got to respect every day of the week, right? Especially the weekdays. Zubair Shafi, Ravni, we need to connect if possible. Yes, you guys need to connect. AP Commerce, I have the notification on and I miss out the notification somehow. Don't worry, AP Commerce. What you'll need to do is maybe figure it out in your settings for notifications for the YouTube app on your phone. I don't know. Modulamin Dahaba. If you get an admission in a public college, will you be eligible for post-graduation work permit after graduation for undergraduate international students? Please tell me a bit. I understand. I believe so. I have to check this new policy because, to be honest with you, it's brand new, but you should be eligible, right? And as I said in my little speech when we started, right? Let's look at questions. Yeah, You should be eligible. Yes, you should be eligible. But there is a study permit cap. You will need a provincial certificate, and there may be other restrictions. So wait until March to get more clarity from IRCC. But yes, the PGWP, I believe they're streamlining it more, and they're going to give focus to specific occupations, folks. And this is something we discussed last year, that this was part of the IRCC future policy, that they wanted to bring in and prioritize students that are studying specific occupations that are in line and matching the in-demand occupations in those regions. That's what they're trying to do. So we'll have to see more clarity on how this policy will affect it. Rushur, no problem. Ravneet, yes, you guys connect. Somveer Kumar, hello, Reza. Medical and ADR done 1 month ago. Now waiting for PAL. Not sure how long it will take to wait for, if any, timeline. No, as I said, folks, in the previous questions, there's no, I had clients last year 4 to 6 months, and we've had clients who got it much quicker. But I always say, just, plan for 4 months minimum. Happens faster, great. If it happens in 6 months, okay, that's fine. It's manageable. Ravi Kumar, hi, sir. I have a question that I am working in AIP restaurant. Okay. From last 1 year as a student, can we file PR after 3 months of work permit? You do have to have graduated, Ravi Kumar. So we'd have to see how long you were working for, when did you graduate, and when you can be sponsored under AIP. So there are specific restrictions. Ravneet says, thanks, Reza, no problem. El Sultan, hi, Reza. As a 2021 applicant, should I expect to receive a final decision in 37 months? I've already received an ADR in November. You should receive it this year. So 2022, 2023. Yeah, I mean, 2.5 years, I think. So this year, definitely you're going to get a decision, El Sultan. And they're speeding it up. The 2020s were the slowest. 2021s were in between. 2022s were one of the fastest being processed. And then 2023, we have to wait and see. And then AP Kamesh says, I graduate August. Hope they implement the 3-year program before that. I don't want to be panicking, reliant on ONIP. Yeah, no worries. Angel, will there be a situation where a student is accepted in, say, UBC for undergrad program, but the province refuses attestation letter? Good question, Angel. What I think is they're going to prioritize the big boys, which is UBC, SFU, University of Toronto. So each province has flagship universities. So they're going to allocate most of their resources, these letters, to those big universities, and the colleges and the smaller institutions will have less allocation. So we'll just have to wait and see. At this point, it's speculation whether a student with an LOA from UBC could get refused. But let's say it's at a point where they've reached the cap. They may communicate with the university that, okay, don't get new students until the next intake, for example, right? So I'm sure there's going to be some communicative channels between the province and the big universities, the flagship, to the larger universities, the flagship will have priority over everyone else in that province. And 3, we have to see how it will be implemented. Will it be a mess like many other IRCC new policies, or will it be properly managed? I think there's going to be a lot of trial and error, Angel, on this, because provinces don't have experience with this, and DLIs don't. Universities in Quebec do. Well, now that they're copying Quebec, I hope they'll actually implement a federal investor program in Canada, but without the requirement of learning French, like the QIAP launched recently. Martin, quiz. I got a study permit extension approved. I want to apply for TRV to travel. Does the new changes in terms of funds to be more than 20,000 apply to me, or doesn't affect me? No, if you're just requesting a visitor visa to go back home and come back, that is separate from the study permit that you have already. Ravneet Kaur, so you're saying more and more work permit are getting refused now? Ravneet, it depends on the region for startup visa. Middle East, I've always said, is getting 2 refusals before the 3rd one is approved. We're seeing different feedback, and it depends. Does the person already have a visitor visa? Do they have solid travel history to US and Canada? How strong is the startup visa? Where are they from? But we are seeing trivial refusals that they're just asking you to reapply indirectly twice or up to 3 times. But again, each region, each processing center overseas will be different. Nathaniel Couture, dear sir. Yes, Nathaniel. Hi, what is about spousal open work permit to Canada? Nathaniel, you can apply for spousal open work permit if, depending on which program you're eligible for. There's a lot of programs, so it's very detailed. You can watch some of our videos on that. Shana Rafi, I heard that there's so many refusals on C10 and 11. Did you have any experience when you got refusal, reapplied, and received the approval? I mean, for the same program? Shana, there's a lot of bad applications too. Remember that. C10, C11, and ICTs, so the old C12s, which is like a C6123 now, those get a lot of refusals now because the way it was previously, it was being approved easily. Then the same quality applications were coming in, so now they were getting refused, right? So it doesn't mean that a good application will get refused. It means not every application will be approved. And if you reapply, you have to have a solid case, okay? Because I'll be honest with you folks, I'll be dead honest. I've seen some of these ICTs, C10s and C11 that applications going in, and sometimes the renewals are being refused, and sometimes, or the original work permit is being refused. And I looked at the cases, the files, and they were very poorly done. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to blame anyone. I'm not going to say anyone's good or bad, but you got to spend time and make a proper application, folks. Okay. So I don't blame IRCC in these refusals. Okay, Shana. But we, for example, have had very good approval rate. And of course, we do reapply if it was refused, but we make certain criteria. So we upgrade the file. The operation should go operational. And if the significant benefit wasn't enough, you have to up your game. Okay, so you have to address the officer's issue. Sometimes it's trivial, and I've seen renewals being refused for stupid reasons. So you got to be really ready for that. And so more and more of challenges are coming up with LMI exempt investor or entrepreneur work permits. And folks, as you know, here's another update. OIMP entrepreneur program, as you know, as of December was shut down. The OIMP success initiative was shut down. They're revamping the program due to integrity issues. So there will be a new OIMP entrepreneur program potentially launched in the next few months. Let's wait and see. El Sultan, if you receive a pre-arrival letter for SUV, does that mean PR is approved? Pretty much. It means the RCC officer will not ask you further questions, which means they're happy and they pass it on to the PR processing system and people in their departments. Nathaniel, hi, what was a spousal? Akanlu Collins, my wife, hold on, folks, I'm trying to find this. There's a lot of questions. My wife is applying to a University of Professional program. Can she apply with our son? Because I understand that there have been changes with the open work permit for spouses. Yes, it's being implemented and only master's and PhD students, but the implementation hasn't come in yet, right? I mean, basically when we're looking at it, I believe as of September going forward, spousal open work permits for international students will be eligible for master's and PhD students. Okay. Bashir Mohammed Youssef, please, can I use a 1+1 program in the Atlantic region to qualify for AIP? A 1+1. You I can't recall if a 1+1 was eligible by here. Bashir, I'm sorry, it's there's too much in my head to validate that right now, but it's easy to validate. Just go online. I don't remember if a 1+1 was eligible. I am inside Canada, Zubair. Cool. I think you're sending that to Ravneet, right? World Entertainment Capital, WEC. Can a cousin or extended family support an express entry state provincial nomination in Alberta? If not, which state can relative support, cousins, application. So there's different streams. As you know, Alberta has one, but it has to be in the in-demand occupations, not any occupation. Okay. Saskatchewan, I believe, has one too. Not a lot of provinces have this family ties. Okay. I think Manitoba, did they have one or no? I don't remember, but I know Alberta has one, but it's got to be in the in-demand occupations. AP College, how is IRCC even going to find out what fields are in demand for students to study, especially the way current job markets are? Well, AP College, they get it from the labor ministries of each province. They have reports that are issued quarterly, sometimes biannually, sometimes annually. You can actually read those, and they're quite interesting. So based on that data, they will have that data available, and yeah, makes for an interesting read. Samuel Hook, I hope I pronounced that right. I'm outside of Canada and applied for PGWP and got passport request. Good. If I get a 3 years visa, can I apply for my spousal work permit, or I need to enter Canada and get a work permit application of a SOWP? If I get a 3 years visa, so that means a PGWP, can I apply for my spousal work permit, or I need to enter Canada and get a work application for SOWP? So if you have a spousal, so you can apply for them. Typically what we do is we apply together with the applicant for the PGWP for their spousal as well. But if you enter Canada now and you have the valid work permit, you can also apply for the spousal open work permit. But I believe you should show that you are employed. You can watch our video on that as well. We have a video. But again, the visa that you're referring to, I believe you mean PGWP for 3 years, because a visitor visa has no significance in terms of a spousal open work permit. Nashwan Ali, hi Reza. Could you please give us your predictions about the real processing times for SUVPR in 2022? And what is the expected timeline after receiving the permanent file number for PR? 2022, I believe, will be processed this year. Most of them. And the timeline after receiving your permanent resident number can be anywhere from 5 to 8 months. The shortest would be 4 months. Okay. But go with that average, 4 to 8 months. I would say 6 months, just to be safe. SG, hi. You just told some university named UBC Windsor, which offer Canadian tuition fee for structure if dependent father has work permit and receiver. Is there any website or email address to check all uni names? There's no. You have to go to each university, SG, and they will have a page on the university site that says you can apply for domestic tuition if you're dependent of somebody who has a closed work permit. That's how it works. There's no IRCC website for that. Nashwan Ali, is it really 37 months for SUV in 22, or should it be less? It'll be less. There was a case we represented. They got January 2022. They were approved already. They have their PR since last summer. So AP Kamish, I think Ontario is communicating with University Queens is cutting down so many students and programs for no reason. Same as U of T here. Well, AP Kamish, I think everyone's getting themselves ready for this cap and these letters, these certifications that the provinces have to issue and to allocate to these universities. So the number is going to be 1/3, right, of what they were bringing in before. So I think they're tightening up, because what's going to happen is if they offer a program and they can't get enough international students in for some of the programs or they've offered, then it won't be feasible for them. So they'll just cut down. So everyone's tightening their belt. Lyndon A. Jones. Hi, my name is Lyndon. My friend and I applied for HNC in 2020. After 5 months, they refused them, but I haven't heard from them yet. I don't specialize in HNC, Lyndon, but I do believe that the processing time is more than 5 months. So if your case is still under process, you can ATIP it, like Access to Information Privacy Act, to see what the status is. Zubair Shafi. International students are reaching out to us for hiring them as co-op. We need more engineering staff to offload our development work. Can we, as a startup company, hire them? Do you need an LMI process? Zubair, if they have a study permit, they can work as well within certain criteria and timelines. If they've graduated, they have a PGWP that's valid, you can hire them. You don't need an LMI. You would only need an LMI to hire someone if they don't have valid work permit. inside the country. So maybe they're outside or inside, but don't have valid work authorization. Abid Jamil, hi Reza. ICT work permit processing time from Pakistan. How was approval rate for ICT in 2023? I don't have the 2023 approval rates, Abid. I'll have to check and let you know. Processing times, we're seeing higher processing times for Pakistan. I don't think you should expect anything less than 4 to 6 months. Angel, is soft landing possible, say like for a week, to get land in immigration center and travel back to home country to wind up things? Yes, as long as you have your PR card, Angel. The PR card may take 4 weeks, 6 weeks to get, sometimes sooner, sometimes longer. And that's with the PR card, you can come back. If you don't have that, you won't be able to come back, even with a visitor visa, because you're not a temporary resident anymore, you're a permanent resident. Some people do leave though and then have their PR cards mailed to them, but officially that's not supposed to happen. You didn't hear it from me. Ravneet Carol, see you next time, Reza. Have a great day ahead. Take care. Thanks, Ravneet. See you. Hopefully, make sure you subscribe. Luigi Alba, when can you create an EE profile? How I know if I'm STEM draw? Okay, an express entry profile you can create anytime if you meet the eligibility criteria. Louis Gui. Did I pronounce your name right? I'm sorry if I did. If there's a STEM draw, they'll notify you if you were selected. You will get a notification in your express entry profile. You don't need to check. I mean, it's good to check, but you will get a notification in email. So make sure you check it like every month. Adele, my son is now 21 years, going 22 in December of this year, 2024. Has a 1-year postgraduate work permit, which started in 2023 and will expire in November of 2024. His father has a PGWP that will expire in 2026. What's the best PR strategy if I'll apply this year? Employer sponsorship through a PNP, startup visa, regional programs like Rural Northern Pilot and Atlantic Immigration Hub, which are, again, employer-driven. So sponsorship. Those are the best ones. Mohammed Harris, hello, Reza, hello. Do you deal with visitor visas as well, and how to book a meeting with you? As I can see I can't see any link specifically mention your name to book a consultation. Yeah, the VIP consultation is with me, just so you know. But visitor visas, I mean, we can help you, but, I don't know, Mohammed. We can definitely help you, but there's no magic wand. Either you have a strong case or your clients have a strong case or you don't. But we can guide you. Donald Sotunde, I have admission at the University of Manitoba and I want to apply for my study permit with my family. What is my chances of approval, and do I still qualify for spousal open work permit? You still qualify if you apply for study permit. You can apply all together, and you should apply quickly. If you're approved, they can potentially also be approved, and each case is different depending on the criteria. Adele, to clarify, I'd like to include my son as dependent when I apply for prayer. Yes, Adele, I understood. Yes. SK Arafat Assad. Hello. Hello back, SK Arafat Assad. Mohammed Harris, could you please guide us on Article 179B and how to resolve this? Or what was the problem in visitor visa? Was having travel history well established, but apply for a family tourist visa. Refusal reason, stating that the purpose of your visit to Canada is not consistent with a temporary stay, given the details you've provided in your application. So, Mohammed, that's a very generic way of refusing visitor visas. You may look at a judicial review if you have a strong case. Each case is different, okay? You can reapply, but make sure you improve your application. You make sure you get the refusal notes through the Global Case Management System through a ATIP, Access to Information Privacy Act request. You got to do your homework, and you have to reapply if you believe you have a strong case. And you can even take it to judicial review. But you've got to have a strong case, folks. Zubair, hi Reza, how much time would it take for someone to get a PR and then get married to get his or her spouse in Canada? If it takes long on the spouse, apply for a visitor visa. Is it okay to do so? It takes about a year, Zubair. And the visitor visa can be applied, but there's no guarantee, although there are policies that they say they will approve it. You just have to leave it up to the embassy. But yeah, you can apply in the meantime of the 1-year processing time for the PR for the spouse to arrive, but there's no guarantee they'll actually approve it. AP comments, Zubair, I need a co-op. Can we connect? Nice, AP comments. I like it. It's like a community forum. Shana Rafi, following the previous question, after the refusal of a C10 file, can I apply for a short business visa to come to Canada for establishment of the business visa in case they give them visa? Sure, you can apply, Shana. You know that. I know that. But you sound like a consultant, though, by the way, which is good. But do you really think they'll give them a visitor visa, right? Because what they'll say is, oh, they want a visitor visa to come in and maybe flagpole or something and take a C10. So it's a tough one, to be honest with you. My magic, like, solution to all this is just apply for a PR program. That's the best way to overcome any doubts, any risks. Brenda. Hello, Reza. Hey, Brenda, how are you? Brenda, refresh my mind. Where are you located? Zubair Shafi. Reza, honestly, you're not one of the honest, transparent, and great consultants, but the only one. Great work, and be always the same. It will benefit a lot of folks. Zubair, thank you for the positive feedback, folks. We got 52 people watching, and if some of you think I'm crazy, well, you're right. I am crazy, and that's why I tell the truth and nothing but. And I think IRCC has taken on way too much over the last 3-4 years than they can take on. And yes, sometimes you have to look at other programs around the world and not just Canada, to be honest with you. Thanks for the positive feedback, folks. AP Commerce, Reza, general question. Where do you see the economy in the next 10 years? Oh, 10 years. Well, I have a crystal ball. I'm like the Oracle in the movie Matrix. Or is it worth it to move to US despite the difficult immigration system they have, purely because they better opportunity? Yes, there's more capitalism in the US. I agree. Do expect some weird stuff to go on during the elections this year. I do give Trump a high chance of success. There will be a lot of conflict. There will be a lot of going back and forth. I am in no way supporting any side in any elections. I am not politically aligned with anyone, folks. Just putting it out there. But US has way more economic and business opportunities, AP Kamach. The chances of a Canadian becoming a millionaire are 1/100th of an American entrepreneur, just because of the market size, the regulations, and the way new businesses initiated. You can get way more customers faster in the US if you're a brand new business versus Canada. Canada, they're very conservative. I'm not saying they are I guess we are very conservative. Zubair Shafi, AP Kamach, why not looking for developers, engineers, DevOps engineers? AP Kamach, Zubair Shafi, I'm not an engineer. And any other openings? Nice, it's like a bulletin board now, employment bulletin board. Nashvan Ali, friend of mine who applied for PR under CV told me that they received the first communication from after 5 months from receiving the permanent file number, and now 10 months since receiving file number. Nashvan, it's so scattered that it's very difficult to say that that case will be duplicated with your case. Okay, so there may be cases where they get their PR in a year and a half. Some cases it takes 3.5 years. Some officers finish the file in 4 months after they give you the permanent file number. Some officers drag it for 8 months. You cannot compare immigration cases. Angel, I heard if you travel back to home country, there's an option of applying for a PRTD from home country if your PR card is not yet delivered. Oh yeah, you don't want to do that, Angel. The travel document, that is a death wish. Okay, look it up. It is a death wish. You don't want to go in that route. No. AP Kamach, the chat is active today. Not gonna lie. Yeah, you better not lie. The Good Life. That's the name of the person asking this question. Hi, Reza. If my spouse is already in Canada on a study permit, will I still be able to apply for spousal open work permit, or the new rules affect spousal study permit holders already in Canada? Let me read this again. So your spouse is already in Canada on a valid study permit and she's pursuing full-time study. Will I still be able to apply for spouse under new rules? Well, right now you can. When the new rules are implemented, depending on the education level of your spouse, like what is she studying right now, when will she graduate, that could affect your eligibility for spousal open work permit. So do it fast, do it quickly. Adele, I understand timing is essential for me, and my son is not anymore dependent when he reaches 22 in December of this year. Correct, Adele. I will have 1 year work experience only on August, so I can start applying for PR at the time. I mean, you have your spouse. Oh, okay. You're the spouse of the student who has a PGWP till 2023. You'll have 1 year work only on August 2nd stuff. Calculate your points in express entry. Do you even have enough points? Are you in the categories based selection draws? If not, you got to start finding employers to sponsor you. Prabhath, Nayana, are you assisting in buying an existing business in Canada? Yes, Prabhath. That is one thing that we are very active in, because it's part of the business and investor immigration, the LMIAs and investor LMIAs and all that sort of stuff. Nikhil Ravichandran, hello from Alberta. I'm on a PGWP expiring this October. I have 494 comprehensive ranking system points in the express entry. I'm 24 now and have been in Canada since 2018. Studying PGWP, working, gaining experience. Think might get invited? Yes. I give you a 88% chance, Nikhil. I think sometime this year, you'll come back into a YouTube live and you'll be like, hey, I got my PR. And that's my prediction for 2024. And sorry, AP Kamish, I didn't actually give you a 10-year forecast for the economy. My forecast for the next 10 years is at least we'll see a recession, a boom, and a stabilization. Nobody knows. It's too long ahead. But the economy is hurting. Employment is not as it was before. The elections down south and the elections next year will create big rifts in society. There will be dramatic changes in North American policy over the next 24 to 36 months. That's what I can predict. What will happen, what lottery number to pick to become a millionaire or billionaire, that I don't know. What you should invest in, that I don't know. But, folks, real estate is always good. And right now, real estate market is dead in Toronto and Vancouver. But that's the time you actually have to be looking at good deals. Okay, that's my little prediction, the little crystal ball. Adel, my plan is to apply for OMP as I have already worked, then apply for PR in August when I already have a 1-year experience. But I would prefer to be very careful, so I will contact you soon. Yeah, Adel, you got to be very careful with your timing because you have to consider you'll be in the pool, you'll be invited, then you get a nomination. So all that timeline is going to be very prevalent towards the dependent that's turning 22. Reza Angel, okay, Angel is asking. Reza curious, why is the PR travel document a death sentence? It's not a death sentence, Angel. Just look it up online, search about it. It's you're not guaranteed to get it, or you're not guaranteed to get it on time. Right? So if you want to go overseas and maybe you're stuck there for a year or more, yeah, right? Sure. But it's not something you get like in a few months. Let's just put it that way. And it creates stress. Like if you're trying to come back, so search it online. AB Comments. And also hoping anyway gets more subscribers in 2024. Yeah, for sure. Vimuliza Tina, what is the waiting period to get a Canadian visitor visa for Rwandans? Last time I checked, it was like I saw 2 to 3 months decision. I don't know if you'll get approved, but I saw 2 to 3 months from Rwanda. Finally, Sosa, long time no see. Hey, finally, Sosa, where are you been, man? Where are you been? Come on. Adele, what is the best way to reach out to you for more specific questions and advice? Does Ingwe provide careful guide for cases like mine so I won't miss a step? Yeah, for sure. You can book a consultation. I just put it in the link. You go to our website, you reach out or request consultation. You can do an email assessment with our team, but if you want a one-on-one, you can book it online. I just put the link here too. Prabhath Nayana, how can I contact you to discuss about buying an existing business? Again, Prabhath, reach out to our team. Typically, we don't get engaged to find applicants a business unless they're a client. Okay, but reach out to us through our website, or you can also book a one-on-one if you want. Otherwise, you can send a feeler email, just through our website, ingwe.ca, ingw.ca, and mention what you're looking for, and we can let you know if we can help you, but we don't get engaged proactively until we have a client signed up. Tati Zarate, if someone just applied for PR and a visa and an open work permit are about to expire, what to do? Well, you need to renew the status, Tati. Applying for PR does not give you status inside the country. If you're outside, that's fine. It's expired. The PR is on the process. But if the PR is on the process, you still need to maintain any kind of status inside Canada. Otherwise, you need to leave, and you have to watch out what your PR is being processed under. If it's under a PNP where you need to continue working in that occupation employer, well, that could ruin your PR processing too. So keep in mind. Finally, so AP Commerce, thanks for reminding me of the live. Sure do most my YouTube notifications. Yeah, that's cool. Zain, Hill got work permit. Okay, HIL got work permit with my family. I'm living in Dubai. Can I apply for PR from Dubai and got to Canada work permit to get the PR? Zain, you have to be eligible for PR programs, but you can apply from anywhere if you're eligible for that PR program. So it's very specific that I can't really give too much insight or help to you. Zubair Shafi, can you shed some light on the new net worth declaration after getting the PR for COPRs? The net worth declaration. Well, after your PR, you don't need a net worth declaration. You can, within 2 years, declare your income and overseas assets to CRA. As of the day you land, you have landed as a COPR. That's the day the cost of all of your overseas assets should be declared. So at any point, if you dispose of those assets, it could potentially trigger a taxable transaction. I'm not a certified accountant or tax advisor, so I can't actually comment on that. That was just my personal experience. Zubair Shah, does it have to be through audit company or self? No. So if you're dealing with CRA, overseas assets, no, like 90% cases, no. Thanks, love your work here. You're helping a lot of people with the truth. Thanks, Adel, the exposed truth and nothing but. Zubair Shafi, is there any specific format we have to follow to submit business updates to IRCC and SUV? Not per se, but this is what they like. So you update the business plan with new market research and data and changes in your industry. Put an executive summary on top of that to say what changes have been implemented. Plus, usually you have to update about everything about your business, like what kind of business development, your product, your MVP, what kind of customers, joint ventures, distribution partners, hiring, setting up in Canada, the intention to operate and manage. You got to show all that. So we do use templates that we've created, but there's no like golden rule. Ajiaz Ahmed, what education is required for startup visa incubator program? Technically, no education, IGS. Unfortunately, the startup visa program does not require a specific education, but if you have zero education, you have to have a very strong entrepreneurial profile for the officers to be convinced. Zain, I got work permit with my family. I'm leaving. Yeah, we replied to that. Finally, Sosa. I'm sure I'll rewatch this live to make sure I didn't miss anything. I joined late. No worries, finally, Sosa. It was just a quick update. We're going to do more every week. Save your energy for the next ones. Vidya Nerusu. I just got H-1B open work permit visa. Yes, very nice. Approved. I did see one of your videos that we can sponsor our own job. Get PR in Alberta. Is there any way I can get it with moving to Canada? Potentially, but you need to be a business owner or investor. There are ways, Vidya, but we usually take on investors and business persons for that. So if you're in that category, of course, we can advise and find solutions. But it's not just like, register a company and sponsor myself. That, what I mean? It's more of like hey, I invested in a business, or I'm running a business and I'm putting money there, that sort of thing. Shana Rafi, just a confirmation. Apply for PR, you mean I should apply for one of the PNPs, right? Shana, I forgot the case we were talking about together, but got to refresh my mind. What were we talking about with Shana? Vidya Nerusu, I just got an H-1B, yeah. You were asking, Vidya, if you can get a PR without moving to Canada. Potentially, yes. Potentially, there are ways, but you got to be an investor. We can guide you. AP Comments, the number of questions. No worries, AP Comments. Don't worry. This is why we're here. Ajiz Ahmed, how about essential partner requirement in Canada Startup Visa Incubator Program? If all members apply for PR, can they get PR directly? Yeah, I mean, basically, all essential members just need to meet the basic eligibility criteria. Education is not one of them, but it's highly advisable depending on the position they have. If all the essential members are eligible, admissible, and are approved by IRCC officer for the SUV, everyone will get PR. So each co-founder and their dependent family members could obtain a PR if they meet all the requirements of the program. That's correct. Lo Yi Ting. Hi, I'm a software developer working under a bank. I have a 2-year working experience and will have 3 years working experience in Canada by June this year, 2024. However, my PGWB will expire this year, October. What you can do, Lee, is obviously calculate your points. A bank will never sponsor you. I know the banks don't in Canada for express entry LMIs, PNPs. How many points do you have as of June? If it's near 500, then that's fine. If your PGWP expires, what you can do is there's a few tricks you can do. One is you can convert to a visitor visa, stop working and stay if you have enough points to be invited for PR. If you're invited for PR through express entry, let's say, and you've applied, you've received an invitation and you've applied, you can actually apply for bridging open work permit too. So that will allow you to stay while your PR is and work as well. So you've got various options. Yeah, my EE score is 465, and I'm trying to get my supplemental right into 9 in order to go to 490. Yeah, that will be. Is there any PR options I can read? Because I'm thinking of leaving Canada, wait for CC approval. Yeah, with your timeline, express entry is the only thing, unless you move to another province, like you get employment in another province and you go there and they sponsor you, and the PNP, like Alberta is pretty quick, or maybe even Nova Scotia, and you can do a bridging work permit and continue to stay here. Otherwise, if you're in Ontario, I would say, yeah, we're working for the bank, you're just looking at express entry at the time being. Ajiaz Ahmed, how much minimum investment requires startup visa incubator program except settlement funds? Well, Ajiaz, they do require that the group shows enough funds to meet the first 1 year of the business plan financials of your startup. So usually we'll ask a group to have enough funds. Like, this is an economic program, immigration program. So if you're a sole founder, we would require, $70,000 to $100,000, sometimes $50,000. If you're as a group, you should show more than $100,000 at least. And I'm quoting less, folks, but you should have more than this. Okay. Shana Rafi. Oh, C10 or 11 refusal. Oh yeah, thanks, Shana. Just a confirm. Apply for PR. I should apply for one of the PMPs, right? Okay, yeah. Any direct PR program, Shana. That's what I'm saying. A PR program, right? So if it's an owner operator, like we call it now, investor LMIA. If it's a PNP combined with an investor LMIA through regional, rural, PNP, AIP, these sort of arrangements. Let's see, Vidya, Narissa, how much should we invest? Well, Vidya, to invest in a business, you could be looking at anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000, anything in between. But you gotta, depending on what you want, with $100,000, you can't really buy a very good business 100%. You may become a partner in a business, right? If you have more money, you can become the full owner of a legitimate business. And I'm not talking about dry cleaners, grocery stores, or little coffee shops, folks. That's not what we do. I see. Yeah, Loyi. Yeah. Ontario would be slower for CCP application, I assume. No, so express entry is the same all across Canada, except Quebec, where you're not eligible. I'm talking about PNPs, Loyi team, okay? That means the PNP in Ontario, you have to be sponsored by an employer, and the bank won't do it unless you go to the human capital stream, right? So, yeah, so maybe human capital stream select you through the express entry. So that's also a chance. But I would say have a backup plan ready or get your CELPIP upgraded. Because while you're in Ontario, you're at the mercy of the express entry or the human capital stream of OIMP, right? Because the banks won't sponsor you. But if you find a job in another province like Nova Scotia or Alberta, they can sponsor you directly. You can go move there and get a bridging work permit because it's much, much faster than depending on OIMP. But OIMP is possible. Work on yourself. Sajid, I just started my 1-year master's law graduate program at York University this January. Congrats. I hope it's what you're expecting. Does the new rules mean I can apply for a 3-year PG after I graduate? Is this confirmed, or can it change? Well, technically, yes, when you graduate, and technically they could come up with some fine print, right? But you're in a public university, you should be okay. But again, until we have all the details clearly laid out, we don't know, but 90% chance you're okay. Ajaz Ahmed, what's the successful rate in Angel and Incubator, both programs? They both have pretty balanced approval rates, Ajaz, for startup visa. Everyone's pretty much in the same boat. Nasim Khosti, hi sir, if I come for a visit, it's getting late, folks. Nasim Khosti, hi, if I come for a visit to Canada, can I stay in Canada, start working? Not as a visitor visa. You need to convert to a work permit. Lo Yi Ting, I see. Budi Prasad, is any problem if you move to another province since we got a PR from province that you gave us nomination? Yes, that's a huge red flag. You'll be refused or withdrawn. Vidya Nurse, Alberta Operating, how much should we invest? Does H-1B open work permit qualify to invest and get a PR? Yes, on an open work permit, you can invest, work, own businesses, own 10 businesses, become a partner, start a business. Zubair Shafi, is there a consultation service available from you to review the business progress documentation? Can you give a rough estimate? Yeah, usually we don't. We have a team that does that, right? Reach out to us and we'll give you a quote, right? But that will be the business team, and then I will have a look as well. But it's a specialized one because we don't usually do document reviews. This would be a special case. And we would do a custom quote. Ajaz Ahmad, how about Canada government new policy for open work permit for startup program? There is no open work permit right now for IGS for startup visa program. And to be honest with you, I don't think they'll actually implement it. Gustavo Henry, hello, Reza, glad to hear from you. When do I have to show the funds required when applying for the startup visa program at the beginning of the process? Yes. At the time of application, you need to meet the PR, minimum settlement funds, and also show some funds that, hey, that was our plan to invest, but that's not as significant as the minimum settlement funds. And the incubator may ask for investment funds, depending on your incubator or designated organization. For the work permit, you do need to meet LICO 52 weeks, minimum income requirements for the size of your family. So that's a separate one for work permit at the time of application for the work permit, because PR requirements are different than work permit requirements as per the startup visa requirement. Last question and we're out, folks. Okay. Lo Yi Ting. One more question. I remember I saw one of your videos regarding the PR application. If I'm not mistaken, as long as I submitted my e-profile, I could leave Canada and come back after PR. Yeah. You don't need to be inside Canada for express entry, right? So, but the point is, you have to have enough points so you don't go out of Canada and just be stuck forever, right? So if you have like 480, 490, 500, then yeah, you could leave and be invited, apply for a PR, and land with a PR. Zubair Shafi, thank you, Reza, once again. Do appreciate your support. Thank you, Zubair. Loyi, amazing. Thank you, Loyi. Sajid, if I get a job offer in Ontario as a graduate student, should I apply for the OIMP International Student Stream, or should I wait until I graduate and then apply for the OIMP International Student Stream? You can only wait, because you cannot be studying while you're applying under the International Student Stream. You should go under the graduate stream after you finish and calculate your points. AP Kamesh, busy live today. Thanks again. Thanks, AP Kamesh. See everyone later. Kioma Omife, hello. How about Newfoundland work permit? Kioma, sorry, don't know what program you're specifying. Lo Yi, I hope I could meet the STEM express entry draw. Yeah, for boost your points. Foreign work experience has 50 score as well. Yes. Thanks for the help, Reza. Glad. Finally, Sosa, Lo Yi, Sajid, thank you. Angel, Zubair, Gustavo. Thanks, everyone. Sajid. Who else? Shana. Sounds like you're in a pickle there with the refusal. Vidya, Adele, Ajiaz, Prabhath, everyone. AP Kamish, of course, Zain, and everyone else that's joined us. Thank you, folks. We'll be back next week, probably Thursday next week, but then after that, we'll switch it up. Thanks again. Be careful. Do your homework. Do your research. Apply with a plan. Never apply just for the sake of applying, okay? And remember, folks, that we are here to support you during this 1 hour, and it's turned into 1 hour, 20 minutes today, and answer your questions. Unfortunately, after this, I won't be able to answer your email questions if you're not a client, but I dedicate this 1 hour every week for you. Take care. See you next week. Amazing audience today. Amazing.